What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Throwing Tantrums. Today we have 4 out of the 5 parents, so it's parent tantrums today. Yeah, so the main thing we're going to be talking about is being a dancer and a parent, balancing all the things about work-life balance, parent-life balance, and all the things. And occasionally, Lauren will drop in with some questions that she has in mind.
Okay. Hi, I'm Nicole Jane. My credits include Core, Hall of Fame, Prototypes. Those are the 3 main ones. I've been a parent for almost 3 years, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we're not trying to give away your kids' information and all that stuff.
My name's Eddie. I think I've been a parent for almost 3 years, I guess. That's what she said, because you get that. Dance credits include everything she just said, including like Workada Modern,
B-Mod,
Beast Mode.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Suwoo.
And then you, parenting credits.
Me, parenting credits. I pushed out my spine and crotch free in about almost 7 years ago.
Wow.
She makes 7 in December. And my credits aren't as well known, but I'm a UDA championship dancer. I worked for the Patriots. And then in LA, I danced with Disruption Dance Company, which is very old school. I danced with Off the Curb in Rhode Island way back in the day. And Off the Curb, opened for people like Missy back in the day, and P. Diddy, all those 90s artists. And now I'm with this lovely company, and that's it. Yes,
That's
it's dancing and
a lot
having
of
fun.
parenting credits.
Oh my god.
You guys have seen me on my other channel. You guys already know the things. Parenting credits, 10 years this year. So,
Woo! He wins.
so next
He
month he
wins.
turns 10. So, okay. So
We all have one.
yeah, we
Yeah.
all
So
have,
we're all dealing
we
with
have
one.
Well,
Yes.
okay.
Well, we have the same child.
Yeah, they're
If you
together.
didn't catch that.
In case you guys didn't catch it. Yeah, so I guess the first question is, do you guys plan on having another one? Any other
No.
kids beyond that?
Well,
No.
Yeah, a simple answer. Hell fucking no. We need to
we gotta keep this parent.
We'll add the bleeps in.
Beep, 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 beep.
So basically,
If the kids were being watched, there'd probably be more wine involved.
yes. For me, honestly, I'm single mom, great co-parenting situation. But if anything were to ever happen, I highly doubt. I'm 35. I'm not trying to do that. So I think it's just the one. And if there's more, it's going to be married in, most likely. I'm not going to do this again.
Oh wow.
No, I made it out. I feel like at almost 7 years old, they're very self-sufficient. And I cannot imagine doing the whole diapers
starting
and
over.
just
Yeah, because
no.
we're kind of like it would be very different if there was someone within our group they're already parenting a teenager. It's like a very different stage.
That is the other thing, though. If it did happen later on, I'd have a built-in babysitter.
Hey,
A built-in babysitter.
There's some, so I don't know. It's an I don't know. I don't know what my future holds.
Yeah, I mean, possibility of adoption, possibility of just another one, but we'll see where that all goes, really. But yeah, I'm open to it. I'm not closed off to it because I do like being a dad, and I feel like the whole process for me was kind of like cut short because of life shit. That
Exactly.
happened.
Exactly.
So yeah, and then now I'm in this situation of co-parenting from very, very far away.
Mhm.
So yeah, so how do you guys?
Can I elaborate on my answer real quick?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Well, I said no, but if it happens, it happens. But most likely no, only because I have an autoimmune disease. So I need medication, and when I'm pregnant, I can't take that medication.
Man,
And
Oh.
that's rough.
so I was like, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was covered in like rashes from head to toe. Like it was really hard to walk. I was in pain every night, and like I would wake up to like bleeding bed sheets and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We've been together for quite some time. and we've always talked about having more than one kid.
Mm-hmm.
But just having all those issues with the first pregnancy, just it is an issue seeing, that I don't want to have to put her through that again. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
since we're talking about the whole pregnancy process, what was that?
Yeah, that's
because we don't. Yeah.
men. Yeah, y'all easy part. Yeah. There's there's always a people don't have to have a specific reason as to why they don't want to bring more humans into this world, but others do have reasons. And on top of it, it costs a lot of money to raise a child too. And adding being artists, we need our physical bodies and we need them functioning. And pregnancy can really put a halt in being a performer. It just can. It can be dangerous to dance at a certain stage in your pregnancy. I was high risk with Nora and I was not allowed to move. I was a dance teacher at the time. If I so far as sneezed, I would end up in the hospital. So we got another one here. So yeah, and, as an artist, it's come here, baby. Just a little head blopping up. Yeah, as an artist in general, it cuts into your career, and that's not a bad thing, but it just does. So you have to take that into account. Come here, booger butt. I talk to my booger like she's still a baby, but come here.
Oh.
Mine
Be
lost
careful.
a tooth today. She's like,
Yay!
you throw your back up there.
my baby. Can you show them your lost tooth?
You lost it today?
No, yesterday.
Yesterday?
Oh, you just told me today. Oh, I'm not. See, this is why. All right, go play. Big kid. Oh my god.
What about you, Eddie? Like, what was your role in, or what was it like for you being support during the pregnancy?
I thought you were going to say what was my role in the pregnancy.
Yeah,
I gave what I needed to do and just waited.
It was a very long delivery from Amazon. Yeah.
I don't know. You should answer that
Goddamn.
I was just there.
Oh yeah, they should. Maybe even Nicole, share your perspective.
He was actually really, really good. Like, he was very, very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. He wheeled and cheered me around.
Aww.
He tried to make me as comfortable as possible. He would put my lotion and all the, since I lost all my like flexibility, like from not moving, like he would put lotion on my back and all that. And
Good question regarding that. I don't know what it's like to be with another artist and another dancer. Would you say that there is anything that you benefited from in him being, physically inclined, like being able to read the body or know what your physical body likely needed because he's a dancer too? I'm like, you must have benefited, right? Right?
no,
5, 6, 7. Push.
Oh my god!
No, he actually lost count like during the pregnancy. They told him like, oh, you need a count, so like count her push,
yeah.
and then he kept slowing down. He kept going 1, 2, 3.
He's changing the tempo.
4, 5, 6.
Mixing it up.
But
You know what I'm saying?
You look up and he's like 1, 2.
You see him on the side just waving.
Time to push. 1, 2, 3, 4.
No,
5 and
it's
6.
because he's like, okay, when he's done counting, that's when you take a deep breath. But he kept slowing down and be like, count faster.
I can't breathe. Oh my
It's like
God.
you push for 10, I think it was 10. You push for 10, he would count. And he was on tempo for like the first 4 seconds. And then he got slower. And I was like, I need to take a breath.
Oh my God.
Sorry, my focus wasn't on the count. My focus was that what was happening. It was,
That's a lot.
You just
That's a lot. It's just.
Well, I didn't
everything-
see it. But, Steph got a C-section. I was just like trying to comfort her.
on the other side of the...
Yeah.
Everything goes out the window when honestly, everything me and her dad learned was just, in the moment it was gone, and I was falling asleep. So I was asleep between pushes, which they said it was something they've never seen before.
I've never heard
Yeah,
that before.
I was, and it's on video. I was literally, I'd wake up, I'd push, and then I'd just go like that, and I'd snore. You just hear snoring.
You were
And then
snoring in the middle.
I was
You were
snoring in the
probably
middle of
exhausted.
labor. And it
Wow.
went on for over 24 hours of pushing.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
So they were
same
like-
with Jordan. Dude.
I was snoring in between, and they couldn't believe it. But when it came down to it, this little diva had to be a performer herself, and she put on a show, a drama show. And then they were like, they looked at her dad, and I'm right there. I'm lucid, and they look at him, and they're like, we have to cut her. And he was like, okay. And I was just like, why not talk to me? He was just like, all right, do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do, doc.
Yeah, he said it so easy, and they just cut me completely open and yanked her out, and she's just like, chilling.
Oh no! She's like with a posing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But they took care of her. She was all good after that.
Yeah, dude.
Man.
I was falling asleep while Steph was in labor.
Oh, no.
She was in labor, and I was like, she was throwing ice boxes, like juice boxes at me to stay awake.
Oh,
Like, stay awake. You think you should sleep while I'm in pain?
Oh my gosh. And being a performer, wanting to move, I will say I find comfort in movement. So being in labor, I needed to move, and I was induced.
I was induced also.
So
yes.
you can't move.
Oh, yeah.
You're bed bound. They need you to lay still because they have all these monitors on you.
Yeah.
And I found myself lying and saying I had to use the bathroom more often than I did, just so I get to get up and just move. I just needed to.
Down the hall.
I'm like, ooh, I gotta pee.
Shanae turns.
But it felt so good to be able to move when in labor, and they're just like, but we need to monitor you. I'm like, it was good. I let them monitor, but oh my god, to get up and move was just it made it 10 times easier.
How was it for you?
Well, after I got induced at 12, and I ended up with an epidural at 5 a.m. or 3 a.m. But so they like she said, you have to get monitored. But I just waited just because my legs were swollen because with the psoriasis. I guess I didn't know this, but someone told me, I could be wrong, that you get really bad swells everywhere on top of the rashes. So it was just hard to walk in general because I felt also very heavy, and since I couldn't really exercise during the pregnancy, I felt plump, more plump than I already was. But during they gave you allotted breaks to walk, and so that was it was hard, but he was holding on to me the
Yeah,
whole
we
time.
did laps in the whole way.
Oh man.
Everything from the Lamaze class. Do you need to take a break? Here, hold the handrail. Do you need to bend over? Here, let me support you.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know if this will make it in the video. Since we're giving the labor story.
It's a crystal story. It's a crystal story.
In terms of walking and your partner supporting you while you're walking, any chance I get up to move and walk, and he needs to hold me, right? Because you've got the fluids that they're putting into you, but every time we'd go to walk and move, once a contraction would hit, if I actually did have to go to the bathroom, there's no holding it. So we're walking, and he has to support me. He cannot run away, okay? So once the contraction hits, pee is just going everywhere, and the backsplash is hitting him while we're walking, and he's just like, oh god, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. And there's no
You're
stopping
I still
it.
love you.
Every time. Dude, well, no kidding.
On me now.
You're welcome. I didn't do
But
that to you.
I don't know what it was, but I didn't get an epidural. I tried to go natural. Crazy.
Oh, I
Oh,
tried.
you
I
are
couldn't.
Tried
powerful,
is
man.
psychotic. It was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't control that. So it's just splash, 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 splash. Just walking in puddles of piss everywhere, and that's life. This is why. This completely turned into
Well, if we're gonna talk about
educational.
disgusting stories.
This is actual
the nitty gritty of delivery. But I guess, okay, since we're dancers, do we have what we're gonna segue into after?
Well, I want to add on to like my birth story. So, okay. So this is where I guess the body movement comes into play because it made me really mad because I didn't understand it, but I had to low-key channel Lauren because so during one of our teams, Lauren would lead the stretches and all the exercises. So she's hardcore when it comes to conditioning. Okay, anyway, so remember that. During my birth, during my birth, they kept saying, oh, you need to push with your abs. I'm like, what the crap does that mean? I'm like, this little person obliterated my abs, so I don't have any abs. And then I would be getting mad, and there's a lot of like nurses that would walk in. She'd be like, you need to stop pushing from right here and start pushing from right here, pointing at the abs, and I'd be like, but it literally feels like you're like pooping a brick out of your pee hole.
Yeah.
And then I pooped, and then I literally pooped, and then but then when they kept saying you got to use your abs, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna have Lauren in my head right now. So Lauren was technically like coaching me through like my pushing because like I was just imagining conditioning, honestly, because they kept saying you need to push with your abs, like you need to push from down there, like but I kept losing it because this guy kept losing count, and like he would eventually let go of my leg because he was like starting to like tear up. I don't know if he actually cried, but
I cried.
But yeah, that's what got me through the pushing because I did not understand what they were like trying to tell me.
So in essence, my wife was thinking about another girl during her pregnancy.
Oh my god!
Did the job.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
So what was it like when you guys first held your kid?
Oh, it was amazing. That's good.
I was like, oh, she's slippery.
I was like, this is gonna sound terrible. I was like, she's white. I'm Michael Jackson white.
Oh no!
Very surprised. I was like, oh, there is no melanin in this right now. But it was fun. I immediately being like I don't know if it has to do with being a dancer or what, but I like choreographed the first 24 hours of having a baby, what we were going to do. So my plan was when I first held her, I wanted her to do what they call the breast crawl, which is when you practice Mother Nature, you practice their natural capabilities and you lay them on your stomach and you let them crawl up to you by themselves. And for science, I wanted to witness this. Like, I got a baby, let me try it. So I wanted to see if she'd rise to the occasion and do it. And she did. They're supposed to instinctually push themselves up through sense to your chest and latch on all by themselves. Like, it's just, evolution. They have it in them to do that. So I did. I put her on my tummy, and I just watched her just, like, make her way up. And it was really sweet. And she did it, and that was it. It was just a special moment that, parents, you understand, what it's like to hold them for the first time.
No words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is the realization
hits. Worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That 9 months of craziness that you put me through, you better be worth
it. So
Return
cute.
sender.
Yeah. My first thought that popped into my head right when they placed her on my chest was, oh, she's really soft and like squirmy, and oh man, this is forever now.
Yeah.
We made
I was crying during the last set of counts. I don't even know if it's on video. I think it might be on video. I was doing my counts, and then she started coming out, and I was like, 4, 5, get someone count for me, please. And then she came out. They let me cut the umbilical cord to give her to mom. And then I started remembering the Lamaze class, like, oh, skin. Do your turn on.
Oh yeah, skin.
And I held her, and it was just, yeah, there's no words when you're holding a child for the first time, and like your child, I was thinking like, yo, we made this, bro.
I was like, this is forever, man.
I made this time. There are. I fist bumped her dad like we did this. We did it. What about you? I was holding Jordan.
My first thoughts,
time.
I was paranoid about dropping him.
Oh, it's slippery.
I was like, don't drop him. And you see it in the video too. We filmed. I'm like, fucking scared. I'm like, I hope I don't fuck this up.
Oh.
Like, because you take account your own childhood. And I'm like, I hope you better that like. So and I just like, and I looked at that. I'm like, no. I wanted more for him. So yeah, that's a
First step: don't drop him.
Oh, the first year. Did you guys ever drop?
Oh my god. Okay. Horrible story. My sister Chisam, this actually is one of her reasons, like one of her defining points when she was like, I don't ever want to have kids. And she's likely not going to have kids. She's very firm on it. But this was like a moment that she will never forget where Nora had her first like baby cold. She was still kind of a newborn. And she had been sick around the clock, cluster feeding. I'm laying in bed with her. And I had a humidifier going and an umbrella. I tied an umbrella to my bedpost so the humidifier would let the steam create like a little steam dome while I held her. So I'm underneath an actual umbrella with the steam. It's dripping on me. I'm finally getting her to calm down from being sick, and she's soothing. So this has been like hours. I am sleepless. She's sleepless. She's sick. I'm feeling horrible that she's sick. She's calmed down. I'm out of my mind, exhausted, and I finally pick up my phone to just have a moment, just scroll for a second. I put my phone up, and because of the humidity, I guess, it slips out of my finger, and it hits her directly in the face. And there's a moment of silence. Like, I look at her, and we both are just quiet, and then out of nowhere, the cry, it is a wail that is heartbreaking, and then I start crying, and we are both just sobbing and crying, and my sister Chisam's just in the corner looking at us like, like, what just happened? And she witnessed me have my first motherly breakdown. Like, I can't do this.
that first year. Well, yeah.
Yeah, dropping your phone in your kid's face.
Okay, well, since we're on the topic of
This
dropping
was just a phone.
Well,
Not a breast pump.
Okay, to be fair, you were not doing jack crap. And I had the baby next to me while I was pumping. And then I accidentally jerked forward and the breast pump fell on my daughter's head.
But look at them now. They're great though. They're great. They're
fine.
Like,
I was 3
resilient.
in the morning. I was feeding Jordan so Steph can sleep. And then, but he was sitting on my lap, and I was feeding
That's
him.
so sweet. I wish someone did that for me.
Oh no!
What happened
The dangers
was-
of having two.
Oh,
No!
So,
Back up.
So the thing is, once I fell asleep, Jordan rolled over.
Oh no!
Yeah, and then Steph was like, "You fell asleep."
Oh no!
So from then on,
Yes.
I had the baby carrier. He fed while I played 2K.
Okay, let me
So
tell you.
I had my video game time. He was like, that was like my lesson learned. Like, okay, I cannot get comfortable while he gets comfortable because then that's just shit happens.
Scientifically, I will say it is a thing where when you're holding a baby, it releases these hormones in you that creates a response where you relax and you do get tired. So, when you're holding a baby and you always see photos of parents holding their babies and asleep, like, yeah, being a parent is tiring and you fall asleep, but also your body is releasing these chemicals that are also attributing to you becoming exhausted. So that's a thing. And yeah,
I mean, it's also like the first year. So
the first
like
year it's
lack of sleep.
exhausting.
Lack of
Like,
sleep.
it's a lot.
Did you guys have to do special ways to put your kid to sleep? Like,
wraps
no? Oh, damn.
and
Special ways.
I used to put Jordan in his fucking car seat because it became one of those.
Oh, yeah.
So I would just take it out. But the
Swing
thing
it.
is, he wouldn't sleep. He would only sleep in there. So we put him in there. I would literally be swinging him around, and then I would have to walk around my apartment complex for probably like 30 minutes
No.
And then I would put him down ever so slightly, and they peek through, and he was like this still, fucking awake. I'm like, go to sleep.
Yeah, he must have been gotten buff.
That
Huh?
is
Like, carrying that
hilarious.
Percy.
My back was feeling it, dude, because he didn't even like the little swing. He liked the actual
The
Oh,
movie.
yeah. And I was like,
Wow. Yeah, drive around. I would get in the car and drive around the block until she'd fall asleep.
yeah.
Like physically. Thank God gas prices weren't what they are now.
We didn't want to rely on having to like put her in the car seat every single time, but we did notice, after you go through like, does she need to be burped? Does she would need to change her diaper? All of this stuff. We did find out that she does like to fall asleep being held, so we would. Every night we would have, or like every time she needed to nap, we would have this little episode of like holding her and then trying to lay her down in the crib, and then right when she feels the crib, right when she feels the bed, she would wake up and start crying.
Yep.
No.
That
So
happened.
we would
Oh my God.
like put her down,
Oh yeah.
then shake the bed.
That's why they have that new thing that
And
actually
then-
moves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. As it
that was the same with Jordan. I just feel like they wanted the actual skin touch instead of Yeah, Jordan slept easier once we started co-sleeping.
As it relates as a dancer, there were things I did when Nora would be unsettled. Like I did this dance move to help with gas, and it was literally choreography. I made a song to it. Yeah, I'd lay her on her back, and I'd hold her ankles, and we did this thing where we go up, down, all around. So I put her knees to her chest. I pull in a knee.
Yeah.
I'd roll in a circle, and then we juggle, and I go do-do-do, do-do-do, and like she loved it. It was a cute little dance, and it would help relieve the gas. But I incorporated movement in like every little thing. If it was like soothing, we'd be dancing. I had a pole in my living room, so no lie, like I'd hold her and
That's tight.
and I'd put my legs up on it, and we'd spin in circles, and I was just like.
That's cool.
Normal. But did you do I know you too.
Well, not at home. When I had privates, because it was COVID, so he came to me at one of my privates, and my instructor held my daughter, and my daughter loved the spinning around.
That's tight.
Yeah, Nora's started using the pole at a very young age, like just as if it's like an indoor playground.
Same.
Just
Same.
fun.
Right now, she's like, whenever I have people come over to learn pole from me, my 3-year-old or my almost 3-year-old would be like, my turn, and then she would try to show
You can
everyone.
climb the pole now. It
That's cool.
breaks my heart.
Wild. But
It's like, should I be proud or should I be concerned?
Yes, because
Maybe
No,
not.
they
be proud.
don't-
It's just
Yeah.
you just can't put
Physical.
that mentality
Yeah,
into
the
them.
context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when Nova was still, when she was able to kind of like put her feet down, like if you like place a baby and they kind of can,
Yeah, they just bounce.
what is it called? Bounce off, or I don't know what it's called. But Edward would do popping with her. He'd be like,
Aw.
I have videos.
The typical
Insert
dad thing, of course.
See? Yeah, it's great.
Are you-
Like I think kids benefit when we're dancers
you
because we're way more physical.
Are you guys
Yeah.
gonna try to push your kids to be dancers?
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
It started from day one. I will
Totally.
say, I have, and maybe I'll send it so we can insert clip. But I have Nora from when she was itty bitty in her swinger, and I positioned her in front of the TV, and I just put on dancers dancing. Like that was the thing. I wanted it to be subconscious. So from when she was little, I'd have her watch dancers.
Yeah,
I'd have
so-
her listen to music.
Brainwashing. Or...
Completely. No. I'll admit it. Yes. I wanted it to be like what she knew. Just like, this is life. You learn to walk via watching us. You learn to eat by watching your parents eat. You learn to dance by watching us dance. Like, this is just
This
what
is
you
your
do.
life now.
This is your life. That's how it was. And growing up, that's always what it was. Like, I was dancing at home. I'd sit her with me. We'd be in the studio,
Yeah.
They're raised in the studio. And it just is what it is. And she is a dancer now, and she loves it. Thank God. Thank God, it's all I wanted. Like, I pass her room, and she sets up her tablet, and she's just, like, dancing by herself,
Hey.
recording herself. Yep. And I'm just like, Just keep going.
Jordan's not into dancing at all, but Steph and I always notice he has very good natural rhythm.
Oh.
But, so like even then when he's just listening to music, you just make a natural rock and bounce to it. I just feel like if I force it on him right now, he's not gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's one of the, let him discover. Because right now he's really into baseball.
Mm.
But he might, if he discovers it, think how beneficial it is to be able to dance with girls, or anyone, or just how dance with a partner. That'd be useful.
But whereas because I know you and Steph are dancers, did Steph continue dancing after the baby or no?
She did for a little bit, yeah. Like for our last season of Fanbase, 2016-2017, like that was our last season. Like I forgot, he was 3-4 at that time. Mm-hmm. So that was her last kind of hurrah in dancing. She like to kind of experience something with being in a team. Yeah, with that the way that was set up, it was like I only wanted to be in one section because I'm on stage anyways. So, and then with her, she wanted to experience more and not still do all the dancing stuff. So what we did was I would be there until probably midnight, and I would leave to go back to her place to put Jordan to sleep. And then once rehearsal was done, she would come back to her home. I would wake up, go back to my home. Because we were living together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, she was living with her mom, I was living with my mom. It was after all the crazy shit that happened. But, yeah. So, because I knew fucking rehearsals were going to 3. I'm not about to have Jordan wait with his grandma. So I would go there, go put him to sleep, let Steph enjoy her time as a dancer, because I just wanted to be on the stage one more time, and to me it didn't matter how long if I was in one section or not, and I got to have some one-on-one hangout time, put him to sleep, because most of the time at that point Jordan preferred sleeping latched on, so while being breastfed, but I figure with me he always likes sleeping on my chest. So that was the only so I just used that as a bonding moment while she had the for me I thought it was important for Steph to not feel like she was just a mom.
Yeah.
So
oh my god.
So for me I was like I wanted to try to so I was okay with not taking on as much because I was still getting to participate and it's something that she cared about and yeah.
I feel like as a woman being a dancer, it's such a powerful, ability to have. And when you have a kid and you can't do that, I associated it. I did. I was like, I can't move. I don't have the strength I used to have. And, that was big. And I taught children's dance, but I did not dance myself, not in the way I used to. And it took years to get back to that. And I have a lot of videos dancing with her in the living room, but that was my only safe space, dancing at home. I did not feel comfortable anymore. I did feel like I'm a mom now. This is what I'm supposed to do. So you kind of forget, you can do both.
Definitely.
Definitely hold on to both. So what did you do? Did you take a break?
That was me. So because of my condition, it was so uncomfortable to move and dance. So I had lost that ability of movement from after probably 4 months into pregnancy. And then, I still tried. I tried to force myself through the pain just because I could not live without pole. I could not live without dance. But it was hard because I felt like I lost 2 years of it. And then the moment I got cleared to go back to slight exercising, I took a beginner pole class and it just hurt. I was so heartbroken because, I can't do the things I used to do anymore. Yeah. I lost everything, muscle. I still have the muscle memory, but I don't have the muscles to get into everything. And I'm still on that journey of getting back into shape, and it's really hard, mostly because when we were dancing, we were on probably at most 3 teams plus the project, and then I was polling for 4 to 5 times a week because I was competing, and so I already had all that exercise and I was already in shape. But then now that my body is at a complete reset, I don't have that 5 rehearsals. I don't have Lauren's conditioning anymore. Like, I don't have pull 4 to 5 times a week anymore. So now I have to do the correct way, which is the pelvic mobility, the shoulder mobility, the boring exercises.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
Yeah, the schedule, like, because you brought up like rehearsal, 3 teams, projects, and all that stuff, but the amount of adjustment of
To one thing a week.
one thing a week, like once the kid's in the picture, is like, how did your schedules change? Like for me, I stepped away like from dancing completely, actually, once Jordan was born, and I think I was just working every day. And then I didn't get back into it. No, I take that back. Oh, because shit happened. But like the amount of rehearsals I did was, crazy. Like as in like my college days, like I'll be in however many projects as one. Like how did it change for you guys? Your schedules.
He was still dancing encore when she was born. He took probably 3 weeks off from dancing, and then I told him that he should still do it while Nova doesn't.
Well, we can.
Well, Nova can't move, and while Nova has to be held everywhere, because the moment she starts like walking and needing for more attention, you have to start chasing her around. So I told him, I was like, keep dancing until she's at that age where she definitely needs to be chased around.
Yeah. And then the timing of her birth was just kind of worked out because she was born like maybe 4 or 5 months before.
No, 2 months. Oh no! Yes, sorry, you're right. 4 months.
Yes, thank you. like I said, before I was so rudely interrupted. No,
Wait, we've got one set of parents who are still together, and then we got 2 separate. And it's just like, oh man, I remember the days.
No, just the way things worked out is just I was still dancing, and then COVID hit, and then it all had to stop, and it was just like the timing was perfect because once we had to stop rehearsals due to the pandemic. I got to spend more time with my daughter, and it would have happened anyway. So, in that way, I was kind of like forced to do it because I know when we took a step away from dance to kind of prepare ourselves, it was really difficult. Like stopping going to rehearsals and things of that sort. Like we would find ourselves like bored on like Tuesdays. Like we normally go to rehearsals on Tuesdays, but we're home and we're just like so bored. Like, what do we do? But
yeah, that adjustment is interesting. I work still, but I taught a lot of classes with her from when she was just in a stroller. She was in my ballet classes. I'd actually use her and have members like do their across the floors to her. So I'd have them look at her, and then she'd get to see like engage. I'd sit her up and she'd see ballerinas spinning at her, and she'd just be giggling and excited as each one got up to her. And so I incorporated having a child into my work, which was like my dream come true. But it definitely got to a point where she needed more from me. She needed me to hold her. She needed to be fed. And it was eating it because I was a middle school dance coach at the time for after school program. And I taught in a studio. And in the studio, these parents are paying for their kids' time. They want their kids to get everything they can out of the class. And when I'm having to keep stopping, it became, I felt guilty. Nobody asked me to stop, but I felt guilty. So I took a break. I took a step back. And maybe by the time she was 1 year old, I stopped teaching altogether. I was not dancing. And anything I did was just at home trying to keep it going. But I lost my way for years until, I got back with Emery and we started doing this.
You forced yourself into rehearsal.
Let me in! I was so desperate.
Yeah.
Future rehearsal, I'll bring Nora so she can just do their thing.
Well, sometimes when I felt like getting out of the house, we would bring Nova to Edward's rehearsals. So everyone danced around Nova. Nova's always been around dance, but going back to like the other question, like would you get your kid into dance? I'm saying no, I'm not going to force them into dance, but Nova's around dance all the time. Like, she has come with me to my dance classes while Edward will watch her on the side. She's come to, like, Edward's rehearsals. She comes to both of her, because we're currently on another dance team, kind of, like, for, like, bachata. And so she's there also. So we enrolled her in ballet and tap. She was only able to do the one, like, that's up to 2 years old because, you know, they just run around and then they'll learn the move. She knows the ballet basics, but when it got to the level above that, we had to take her out because she just wanted to run around and just learn it at her own pace. She didn't want to learn when the other kids were learning, which is, like, unfortunate. So I'm not going to force her, but she is around it so much that I wouldn't be surprised if she wanted to do it.
Yeah. Plus, all of her uncles and aunties are all dancers too.
So she's
So
surrounded
we
by,
can't get away from doing, you know, just naturally
Oh, we need to tell the story of how she, like, always interrupts your battles.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, because whenever we have sessions, and you know how, like, during sessions, like, you'll somehow manage to get into a battle
It's
with,
a battle mentality, you know.
like,
you
battle people. And so whenever Nova sees, like, her dad about to, like, go off, she runs to the middle and just, like, poses.
Goes off for me.
And then she'll, like, run around skipping and then pose. And then run around skipping and then do a couple, like, random isolations that we didn't know she knew how to do.
Yo, like Jason's thing where she did that thing, bro.
Yeah, she, like, stopped in the middle. Like, so Edward was about to go off on Jason, and then Nova just kind of horse gallops in the middle, and then she just stops, like, with her arms back and goes, "Ka."
It was so dope. I was so proud. It was a popping battle.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh, so yeah, it's sinking in. Definitely sounds like it's sinking in. So I don't know if this is an issue with you guys as a parent, as a dancing parent, but I did come across the problem of I had my break and I got Nora into her first studio, and immediately in her first class, I'm talking to the teacher and I'm like, I'm actually a dancer myself. And next thing you know, I'm voluntarily helping in my daughter's dance class, and I get her in there, but now she's got her mother in there with her.
Yeah.
And she was not wanting to listen. She wasn't, I think I actually stunted her development because now I'm in there teaching with her, and I find myself going over to her like, okay, sweetie, and that created this whole, like, mom, don't hug me when I'm with my friends, don't do it. So I noticed she wasn't doing that well because she was trying to avoid me.
She wants
she wanted to do her own thing. So I stopped helping with her class, but I did end up as a teacher at that studio because, once they're like, oh, a dancer and a parent, you're already, since you're here, next thing you know, I've got like 5 classes of teens I'm teaching. But now that she's in a new studio, I've made it a point to not tell anyone that I'm a dancer. Yeah. And even if they were to ask her, I'm not going to assist with any of her classes as much as I would love to do that. I understand that she needs that space to become a dancer on her own.
Yeah.
And when she practices, she does shows now. We rehearse here at home, and I'm just very gentle about it. I record her. I let her watch herself in her room so she can clean herself up. If she has questions, she comes to me, and then right before a show, we'll run it. We will do it, and I will clean her up. And now we know it's like that. We drill, and I have her start, and once she makes the first mistake, we're like, stop, and I pause it. I pause the music. We clean it, and we'll do this for
in her podcast, the same shit that her mom put her through.
Yeah. When she's older, she's going to be like...
generational trauma.
To do to me, I'm doing it to her. But she did so good in the show, though.
Again.
She definitely. And I would notice she would have moments where she get frustrated, and then I'd be like, okay, nope. I'm like, nope. We take a break now.
Yeah.
Like, now we take a break, get some water. Like, let's watch some TV. Well, let's snuggle.
Get your mind off it.
Yeah, like let's take a break because she cares now. She does shows and she wants to crush it on stage. And she's like sweating, sweat's running down. Yeah. So it's interesting now. She's almost 7 and, Jordan's not jumping into it just yet. Nova's still younger.
Yeah.
But at this phase right now it's everything I wanted. I'm watching it. It just started within the year. You know, she's loving dance. This is her thing, and it's very hard. But I'm staying in my lane. I'm giving her space. I'm giving her space to become her own dancer. So that's hard to do.
Oh yeah, I know that you have this question a lot. Like you question your parenting like ability, and sometimes you think about, man, am I a good parent?
Oh yeah. Do you guys have those moments?
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time.
Are you guys perfect parents?
Emotional damage. Yes, absolutely.
Well, yeah, like when
I'm like, how does this pertain to dance again? Why are we talking about this?
I know, 'cause,
Oh my God.
you know, we try our best to be parents, but then you you can't help. But
Yeah.
sometimes the emotions do show up, and then I'm like, fuck, man, I feel like a shit. I guess I'm putting money in this therapy jar or something.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, we all, though. I think that's just parenthood. And our generation, we're breaking. Like, parenting back in the day, our parents, it was traditional to get the switch and spank and do all these things that now, growing up, we consider as, like, excessive use of force. And if we were to do it, it could be seen as something very negative. So we've created these new ways and methods of parenting that involve us feeling very guilty at the slightest thing. Something we feel guilty over doing that we feel like we're hurting our children over, our parents would be looking at us like,
Like, what the
excuse
fuck?
you? You basically gave them a hug. Like, oh, that was nothing. So, yeah, I try to give myself grace, a lot of grace in parenting. And the one thing I tell myself is just apologize. Like, that's the thing. If I make sure, if I have an outburst or anything, I communicate that I understand what I did was wrong, and that teaches her, number one, that I also know, and I'm holding myself accountable to do the right thing. It teaches her accountability too, and when to recognize and speak up when you've, done something that is outside of your morals and parenting code and all of that.
Yeah, like especially saying sorry and then hearing them just like, it's okay. And they forgive you and all that stuff. And also, like, I don't mind doing it because it's like, it shows him that I make mistakes too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to put this facade of like, I'm dad that knows everything. Like,
Yeah.
I fuck up.
We have like built-in mini therapists because just like that, and that's what makes me feel good. She'll look at me and she'll be like, it's okay, Mom. Everyone gets angry sometimes. Everyone gets upset sometimes. And she she knows it's not an excuse, and she will be quick to remind me or her dad, you need to relax. She will say that so much. Like, she's like, you need to calm down, especially if we're like driving and there's traffic, road rage. She's like, you need to calm down. You need to take a breath. You need to relax. And I was like, you're right. And I do it though. My thing is I do it immediately. So she feels like she's got some control in the situation too. There's not like an adult that's just like raging, and the kids now got to go move themselves out of the situation. It's like if we catch ourselves off guard and she acknowledges it, we cut it out quickly. It's like, okay, if the kids got to say something,
It's crazy when the
stop.
kids spit back what you teach them. Like, oh, shit,
Yeah.
I taught you that.
Yeah. Like, dang, I did this to myself.
Yeah.
All right.
I found myself. Well, I always question if I'm a good parent. Not all the time, but but know that it is a good reminder that I am doing something right, because like she's still like polite. She's so sweet. Like, not because like I make her or like she's sweet out of fear. Like, I think I'm proud of myself for that, because I remember growing up, like, I guess like most of us growing up, we're used to behaving because we're scared of our parents, or like, oh, my mom's gonna get mad at me, if I don't do this. But it's been hard, but well, she's still a toddler, so I don't know what it's gonna be like later
In a few more years.
when she develops her own like attitude and more personality. So, which is why I'm glad I have friends that have other kids.
Witness it.
So I can learn from them, because I know for sure I do not want the way like our parents raised us. Like, I mean, Maybe some sternness, but with disciplining, no. He's different, but I can't speak for him. But for me personally,
yeah, because there's two. Like my partner, we both have very different styles of parenting, and we have to meet in the middle. There's certain things we meet in the middle on, and certain things we just don't. And it's gonna be what it's gonna be. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, especially on the disciplining end, like I feel like I've found myself a little bit more on the sterner side of disciplining because I feel like just naturally personality wise, like Steph can easily be good cop and I can be bad cop because she's a little bit more, I'd say, gentle or graceful in terms of like the disciplinary actions, but I would just be like, actions have consequences.
Yeah.
Or what?
Is there a consequence?
Your consequence? Go, bam, I'm gonna dance for son.
Oh my God.
10 rounds. 1 round for
every age.
For every
You teach him to smoke. Just in general,
Just
just
about
like,
to smoke.
like 10 to smoke, 11 to smoke, and then every year it's like a thing. Wow,
Yeah.
I'm just starting young.
For those of you guys who don't know dancing, I'm not talking about smoking. It's king of the hill, but we call it 7 to smoke, or however many rounds it takes to win. So
for
just
battling in
for those of
dance.
you non-dancers.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about?
Parenting
What
styles.
was your parenting style?
Well, I mean, I'm more like our situation is a little bit weird. I find myself being more like the stern parent, but the reason it's a strange, weird situation is because when it's just me and Nova by ourselves, she tends to be very obedient. So I feel like I don't have to be as stern because when it's just me and her, when I'm taking care of her and mommy's at work or doing something, she tends to be very good, very, Then when, as opposed to when she's with the both of us, is when she starts to be a little bit more testing.
Oh yeah, she tries to cross boundaries a lot right now.
I can explain that.
And then with that, it's just trying to find the balance when we're both there because she's like, more like a Crystal where you need a Nova, it's not nice to do this, or, just being very, and I'm just like, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With kids, so you say you're the stern and you're good cop, bad cop, basically, right? So she knows better. She knows better when she's with you, just you, because she knows she's gonna get that immediate action. But then with mom, there's a little wiggle room to test the boundaries. But that's natural to test the boundaries, and I don't want to use the term safe space, but it is. It's a safe. She knows that this is where she can stretch it out and just see how far she can go. Everyone tests their boundaries in different situations. So when kids are speaking out and like yelling or tantruming or expressing themselves, some people look at it as, okay, they feel very comfortable right now. They feel like they're not gonna feel guilty or bad or be told, hey, you can't do that. So it's a safe space to explore her emotions and her temperament and anything and everything in the world, and know that it's not going to be like stopped in its tracks immediately. Whether any of us think that's a good thing, bad thing, is life. We did it ourselves. We tested boundaries ourselves, not just with our parents, but with our friends, our teachers, our coworkers. We're even as adults, we're testing boundaries. Yeah. And as adults, we know who we can test boundaries with and who we can't test boundaries with. So it's natural. So what you're seeing, you're already seeing something in them that's just, this is what we do. Yeah, she knows.
I think
she's smart.
But you're going.
No, that's it.
Like I remember when I was going through parenting classes, like there's a phase in being taught in toddlers is the same as in teenagers. It's I think separation deviation kind of thing, where they're trying to find their own identity. Mm-hmm. So this is a small taste in how they may be as a teenager, mm-hmm. and how they try to, because now they're, especially in being when they're toddlers, they realize they're not an extension of you, that they're their own person, and they're going to push a lot of boundaries, mm-hmm. and then shows up again, and then how it doesn't mean how you show up here is going to be how you are, but it kind of gives you an idea of like, oh, this is what's happening, and they're in this stage.
Yeah, and I don't think that in them acting out is any indication that we're not doing something right. I see it all as positive. It's just indication that they feel comfortable. You know, they feel comfortable to openly express themselves, and if there's anywhere to feel comfortable to express yourself, it's got to be at home.
Yeah.
You know, but it's important to teach boundaries too. So like, let him express, but teach him like, hey, that's also not okay.
Yeah. Jordan expressed himself so well, he smacked the middle of my ears.
Oh no!
Boom!
No.
I was like, you don't. I was ringing
Oh no!
because he was like hyped, you know, and you've seen how him and I get hyped. You've seen how I get hyped. With,
I've
like,
seen how you get hyped in general.
Yeah.
Not with your son.
Yeah, well, because Jordan and I just like roughhouse a lot. So yeah, he was just trying it out.
He went for it. He's like, should I do it? Should I do it?
So,
Damn!
I guess my parenting style, because not just me and Jordan, I kind of let him explore a lot. I kind of try to introduce him a lot of different things. My main thing is I want to keep him active, and like to make sure that the value of taking care of your body and trying to have him eat well. Yeah, because I tell him like, what's cardio for? It's good for the heart. What's strength training for? Good for the muscles. What's meditating for? It's good for the mind. You know, that's what I've been trying to teach him. It's a little hard to try to. It's different parenting style. So, but yeah, like I'm trying. It's hard because I can't do that every day with him. But I try to instill it with him.
You gotta partner in with the co-parent.
Yeah, and then those are the main things I try to have some sort of learning or try to establish some sort of routine. Like when I do my best to have them journal. It's like, what are you grateful for? What do you like about yourself? And just have them write it out. Or like one of the things I want to, because I'm not that good fluent at Tagalog, we would do Rosetta Stone together just to try to because it's interactive and it's kind of like a game. So and then we were both learning together, and then we would both try to practice together.
Nice.
So,
That's
very nice.
So then other things are like again with the whole keeping the body active, taking him to a dance class just to have him explore. And it's not me because I think in third grade I was teaching his friends how to break, and he took it once, and he's just comfortable, like, yeah, Dad, let's goof off, like, let's run around. Like, no, he met instructor Dad that day.
Coach Dad.
Yeah. So and because with my class, like the biggest goofs, like I would have the students like set themselves and be ready, and the parents were like, how do you get the kids to be quiet? I just tell them, if you're not gonna listen, go to mom. I'm not your babysitter. I'll literally tell these kids that.
Dang, good though.
And then I would just say, I'll wait. And the kids would look at me.
Good.
And then they get themselves to be ready.
There you go.
It's different though.
Accountability. He's like, go to your wife. He's like, Dad, she's not over here.
That's why I'd much rather have someone else teach Jordan.
That's true.
Because he knows me as being fun and all.
And they could try to call our bluff too. Like, I know you're not gonna do that.
So yeah, and then another one's like I want him to try different things, just like to try it. Like we did. I took him to a parkour class, and he loved it. And, So and it's fun, like and I take into account like his love language. I know he's definitely physical touch and definitely words of affirmation, because immediately when if he gets in trouble, like, I love you, Dad. He wants the affirmation of being, I still love you. And you're in trouble. Or if he's like, we're just hanging out, he'll just randomly have a wrist on me, just like that, and just.
Oh yeah. He would do that because when we'd have shows and I would hang out with him and Nora together, he would just walk, and what was it? He would like hold just like my thumb or something.
Yeah.
Like just one little something he just hold on to, and I'm like,
yeah, physical touch and words of affirmation or his love languages right now. So
one thing I noticed too that I'm being very cautious of with Nora at this age, now that she's into dance, she's noticing other girls in her class, and they might just be wearing like a half top, a sports bra, and she's noticing figures, and she's become very body conscious lately. So yeah, and I can't believe it's here. I'm so upset about it, but we've got it. We've tackled it. I've partnered with her dad, and we do not mention, like body fat percentage or anything like that. She wants to calm down. She does express that she wants to look a certain way in her outfits, and the way I put it is, you want your muscle to show. Like, if that's what you want, you need to do the crunches. We need to be able to see and feel the muscle. So that's what I tell her. And I'm like, nothing else matters. If the strength is what you want, then this is what we need to do. And so we've been doing like push-ups and crunches, and I squeeze my muscles and I go to feel her muscles. And that's what we're doing. And I'm just like,
awesome.
Yeah.
and I'm like, you can wear whatever you want to wear. Like, you don't have to have those rock hard abs showing, you know, but if that's what you want, then that's how we're going to get it. But we don't talk about like, oh, I'm, you know, I'm chubby or I'm fat or anything like that. I make sure even when I'm feeling it, like, I don't say it in front of her, you know, because as a dancer, like, I know. And it's work. Like, and I have to catch myself because now she's at that age. We don't realize when the transition comes, when they're quiet. We think they're off playing and minding their business, and really they're in a corner, like,
they hear
and they're just like,
conversation.
they're listening to everything, and they remember everything. They're little sponges. So when I first learned that, now I have to be very careful. And like, I catch her looking at herself in the mirror the way I look at myself. So I have to stop.
We need to change it up.
Yeah, it's
I'm constantly
happening.
calling her fat.
Oh no!
You're so fat. You're so fat.
Oh yeah.
You're so fat.
And I mean,
But it's like a Filipino thing. You're like, oh, you're so dumb.
But that's the thing, though. Even though it's playful now, as adults, don't want to be still like it becomes a thing.
Yeah, and same for Nora. Like, I was not blessed with my mama's tuchus, but Nora was, and at her age, everybody knows. Like, you know, big. So I'd be like, look at that big old butt, you know. And I, like, when she's little, I'd just always poke and be like, you got a big old butt, girl. And my whole family, we just say that, you know. And now, you know, she got to an age refined, and she's just like, don't, like, she said it. She's like, don't say that. I don't have a big butt. She's like, you have a big butt. And I'm like, girl, I wish I had a big butt. I wish I had a big butt. But I leave it alone now, and I don't point it out, because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want anything. I don't want her to feel embarrassed or
something
negative.
about like I think Steph and I talked about like having them understanding their own body, their own bodily autonomy. Like, you know how like aunts and uncles like, hey, give me a hug, and like sometimes they say no.
Oh yeah.
We
I
definitely
have something to say about that.
That's
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Like we like for us, like we don't like if they say no, it's a no because it's their body. They let them, because if we force them to do that, then they don't feel like they have their own autonomy of their own self, and then you know that's why like I try not to have him to force him to do anything like he doesn't want to. Like, obviously, he needs to free and clean pick up his toys. Actions have consequences. So like if it takes too long to pick up his toys, then he gets less time to play video games. So, but yeah, like I definitely agree. Like I think him having that, especially as they get older. Like now with videos, like I ask if he wants to be filmed because
that's good.
Wow.
because it's you know, because now he has his own he's on identity. Sometimes he says, "Dad, I don't want to be filmed."
Yeah, Nora gives me permission what I can and cannot put on social media. If I take a video of her, she likes being recorded, but like every time now she's like, "Don't put that on the internet," and I will not. No matter how much I love it, no matter how cute I think it is, I won't. And if there is something, and I'm like, "Can I put this so your family and friends can see?" I get her permission. She says yes, and she loves it. She likes to read the comments everybody says, all of that. But she's very clear on what she does and does not want other people seeing. So it's interesting.
With that whole like our parents, our aunts, or that older generation. So being in his family was like a completely like different like style or different setting, different culture. Because I know we're both Filipino, but I wasn't surrounded by so much family, and my mom's very like introvert and antisocial. So when we go to parties, like, or family parties, like our small family parties, like when I would say hi to people, like I just like say hi, like shake a hand, like it wasn't a big deal. But when I go to his, it's like big family parties, and like they would get mad at me, or I don't know, they would like kind of question like why I'm there, because I'm not saying hi to them, I'm not doing a kiss on the cheek, I'm not giving a hug,
for sure.
And like I learned, like I had to step out of my comfort zone to make them happy, because I did not like so I felt like I lost control of that. Like,
Mhm.
I was like, I felt forced to. Even though it's the polite thing in their culture,
Yeah.
I personally did not like it.
Yeah, we're breaking out of it.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
Yeah. So with Nova, when she was born, it took a while. I mean, not took a while. It was kind of hard for me to swallow because, like, I didn't want to upset his family. But the moment, like, we brought Nova when she was, like, 6 months to a year, all the aunties were like, let me hold her. I'm like, oh, sorry, auntie, sorry, tita, we're trying to teach her consent right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I've been there.
And then, like, they did not talk to me the rest of the party. Like, it happened with, like, 2 of them. But I was, like, kind of proud that I, like, stood up for myself, or stood up for Nova. And so now we'll tell her, oh, can you give him a hug? She'll be like, no. Or like, oh, can you give him a high five? Then she'll give him a high five.
Yeah, comfort zone. And
yeah.
as they get older, they know, like, they will. And Nora, same. We did that whole exercise. Can I give you a hug? Do I have your consent to give you a hug? And I mean, the elders were like just sitting there like, you mother. You know, they were not pleased.
Yeah, and as unpleased as they are, it's the fact that they understand they have their own bodily autonomy. I think that will help because especially with the weirdos out there that are trying to,
and they respect it over time.
Yeah.
As they get older, like my mom, old school from the South, you know, she is not understanding it, but now she loves to see how independent and vocal Nora is. And she sees it now. And she's like, oh, you guys did the right thing. Because Nora's very quick to say what she does and does not want. And that's going to transfer into her being an adult. And she's going to be successful. Because she's not going to be a pushover. Yeah. She's not going to, you know, just say yes to anybody and everybody. You know, and it starts at home. She knows, like, yeah, we're the parents. I've educated her on why it's important to listen to what we say because we know better. But it's not from a stance of, you have to do it just because I said. I always explain why I'm saying it.
Yes.
And so then she has a part in saying, okay, I understand why you're saying it. Thus far, now I will listen to you, you know, rather than no explanation. I said it because.
Jordan's a very, very why-driven kid. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like, what's the reason that I can't do this? And it has to be logical. And then... And sometimes he'll be like, he'll rebuttal back. I'm like, motherfucker, you're right now.
And the hard thing is, I take it, I envision when she's like that and she talks back with me, when it happens, we have debates. I have to catch myself and I don't look at it as, oh my God, you're talking to your mother like this. I envision, like, what if I were her boss right now? Like, what if I were somebody else? And she would, like, if I was a fly on the wall watching her question someone else to make sure, like, would I be proud of this? Yeah, heck yeah. You know, like, yes, question things, do what you feel is right, you know, make sure what's being done is being done the right way. So that's what keeps me calm when she's being what people would consider combative or, you know, talking back.
Yeah.
I just look at it as, okay, no, this is something I have to foster. As long as they're kind too, it's important. As long as they're being kind. There's a difference between being questioning and being respectful. Like Nora's, I think you guys see, she's, oh yeah, little ones.
She's like going straight into
Oh, I know. She's really smart, but sometimes, no.
Visual, spatial. Like today, I'm sure all of you have at least witnessed Nora once avoid a kiss from me. But she's still a sweet kid. She's kind, she's respectful, but she will not hesitate to tell me no.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't look at it as being disrespectful or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it takes time. It takes adjusting.
Yeah, like when Jordan says no, I'm like, okay. Like it does like have a little bit of that sting, but I'm like, yeah, he's using his voice. And that's ultimately like he's like looking at him now.
We had to relearn our voices growing up.
Yeah, and I'm glad. Like, I would love for him to know his voice at a young age, because that way he's not trying to search for it anywhere else. Yeah, and like I look at him now, he's way more confident and charismatic compared to when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, yeah. People say when we look at our kids, the way we're parenting them now, that's us before the trauma and the boundaries, and like that could have been us. That's us right there. But they're doing it from day one.
So, well, I'm gonna tell my story, and then I have a question after it for you guys. So,
Yeah.
Now it's turning into the
okay, so well,
the elder parents.
no. Okay, well, with Nova, so I always get kind of self-conscious or like insecure when other parents like or our generation or the older generation of parents are watching me parent Nova.
Mhm.
So sometimes I do get a little bit like scared like when Nova does throw a tantrum. Tantrum. And whereas when I'm used to like growing up, my mom or dad would just yell at me to stop, that I shouldn't. I should just be grateful that I have a roof over my head and I shouldn't be throwing any tantrums. So when Nova, I've done this a couple times, when Nova is like frustrated, she's throwing a tantrum, but I know it's because she just didn't get what she wanted.
Yeah,
I learned from Miss Rachel on YouTube and TikTok,
No.
alligator breaths. So it's just like, oh, can you give me alligator hands? And then, okay, make the alligator breathe. Chomp.
Mhm.
And so like Nova's done it a couple times. That's how I calmed her down a couple times in front of my mom, and I think I did in front of him once. And she just stopped her temper tantrum, her tantrum, and she just like took a second to breathe. And then I would ask her like, are you upset because of this? And then I would try to explain that, well, you can't do that, but you can have this or this, and then I would let her choose, so that
Nice.
way she has a sense of, what is it called?
Control.
And
Sense of-
choice,
choice.
control.
Because she didn't get because she just got her control taken because I told her she couldn't have something. So
Yeah.
I tried to give her control of something else. So I let her calm down. It's only worked like 3 out of like 5 times, but I was like proud it worked in front of my mom, so she could see that there were other ways
Yeah.
that I could parent. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to yell.
Yeah, and you're teaching her
Yeah.
negotiation.
So
Yeah.
Which is
like
very important.
how did you guys feel like parenting in front of like older generation?
Oh, I ate it up. I loved it. And like, and it was the same thing. I practiced a lot beforehand. We did breathing practices when she'd get upset. I'd hold her hands and we'd like, and I loved watching how she'd calm down. And then we'd talk. And my mom was just blown away. She was like, wow.
Yeah.
Dang, okay.
Yeah.
Like there is another way we can do this. And
Yeah.
and I mean, they love watching how these little ones grow up and how strong their personalities are. So anything you feel now, let all the years keep rolling by. They're only gonna like give you more and more and more credit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Because back then, it's not like they knew. There's not as much
The outcome.
information now for parenting because they
Yeah.
only knew what they knew.
And
And then like and I know for my mom, like I love her. Like she what do you call it? It's one of those things that like our parents are better grandparents sometimes.
of
'cause
course,
they're a lot more calm.
of
Yeah,
course.
my mom was doing her best to help Jordan process when he was frustrated, and she was trying to teach him like to express his frustration through like, oh, if you're frustrated, like punch the ground. I'm like, no. Do you see those holes in your bedroom by 2 grown boys with
Yeah.
anger issues? We're not
Yeah.
gonna teach them that.
Oh, you and Eric?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Lord.
Yeah, like so. Yeah, it was great to show. What do you call it? It wasn't to alligator, but I would have Jordan try to mimic me, just breathing, just follow me, and then even now when he's frustrated, and then he's vocal with when he's upset and he wants quiet. It's like, hey, like I just need quiet right now,
Mhm.
and he's like visibly
So good.
upset, and then I'm being an idiot because I do a stupid joke and Steph laughs and Jordan thinks we're making fun of him. It's like no, your dad's just being dumb, like being silly. Your dad, I'm like my stupid coping mechanism of making everything a joke.
Mhm. He's just like, no, this is serious now. But it's
Yeah, he
great.
would be serious. Like I'm upset.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
curious.
upset.
I actually don't know this about you, but how did your parents discipline you? Versus, I'm honestly curious of like what you think of how I just discipline Nova versus you discipline Nova.
Are you talking to me? Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was like waiting for them to respond.
Because I don't know that about you really.
How they disciplined me?
Yeah.
My parents were super traditional.
which we know what this means.
Yeah. Just,
I got spanked a lot.
Mhm.
If the belt or the slipper wasn't available,
Yep.
they would find whatever they could.
Mhm.
I remember a vase was thrown in my head once,
Ooh, wow.
I remember something.
which kind of, I know, I ended up becoming the rebel kid. I don't know if that was the reason why or whatever.
Nice
But
rolls.
yeah, in terms of discipline, yeah, super traditional.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, how do you feel now, like watching me do it differently?
It's weird because I don't know. There's some things where I feel like talking to a kid that doesn't understand what you're saying doesn't work. But at the same time, I do see how she responds to the way you're talking to her, which I do appreciate. But then there are some moments where, like, I feel like just spank her really quick.
Well,
Just yell at her real quick. It'll be fine.
there is that short term, like gain versus the
course.
long term effects.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So because
It's big time, and it's gonna create then they're scared to voice themselves, and that's working backwards, because now you're gonna have to reteach them to have the voice later, and
because we get the result, which is quiet, but it's not like it's
so you're gonna feel guilty sometimes.
But now it's out of what? It's out of fear.
Exactly.
So it's a much longer process to
Well, we've had this talk before about our views on like spanking and whatnot. She's totally not for it, and I'm totally for it.
Not with a vase.
Not with a vase. I'll sit on a vase or a cell phone or
like more modern,
a picture of
modern physical
a framed
discipline.
picture of me graduating.
Oh my God.
That happened to me too.
Oh wow.
Whatever.
Benefit like it in the older generations too. When we go, are they laughing or crying?
Laughing.
That's her new laugh. She developed a new laugh lately.
The older generations, when they're watching us, it takes time for them to see the gain, and same thing like this. It takes time to see the benefit of the work we're putting in when they're really young. My mom, she would be like, give her a weekend with me. Just let her come to grandma's for a sleepover. And she's going to learn, meaning like, let her come over to grandma's house. I'm going to whoop her butt. And I'm going to send her back to you fixed. That's what my mom would say when Nora was like 2 to 3 years old, And very politely, I'm like, nope, looks like she's not having a sleepover at grandma's house. But I mean, they didn't understand. And now my mom knows. She's just like, oh yeah, like, props.
There's a difference of actually respecting authority, because you also have to equally give respect. Then there's fearing and resenting authority. You're out of just like, oh, okay, I know this game. I'm just gonna shut up real quick. Dad's gonna leave. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. So it's like my brother and my siblings and I are an example of that. We got disciplined, all the traditional shit. Then they all fucking did their own thing, and like I ended up in jail. My brother ended up being in a friggin' institution for a bit.
Oh,
and then,
I didn't know that.
So it got bad. And then my little sister was doing ecstasy in middle school. So
Yikes.
Your sister's a good one though.
Is this going on? Is this getting We're gonna bleep. We're gonna bleep.
We already said it on the podcast.
Okay.
So it was just like, just through all that, it's because we didn't feel like the love. All we felt was discipline, and it didn't. And then without it just didn't feel like, all right, we're gonna look for it elsewhere. And then so Eric and all of us were just kind of some version of sad and angry.
Yeah.
I do have another question.
Yes.
I do have a question because I'm also learning. So okay, this also ties into discipline and dance or hobbies. Okay, so when I was growing up, if I would always beg my mom to put me into a sport or a hobby, but then I would always never like it the first month, and so she'd be like, okay, then I won't waste my money, and then she'd take me out of it. Whereas him, he's so freaking talented.
Nora has a tablet. Everyone just has
Technology.
Papa.
Oh, I know. She makes herself cell phones and laptops out of paper all the time. She's getting her first phone.
Okay.
I know I'm gonna regret it, but she's gonna get it. She put it in her
So cute.
So good. You guys have an advanced one. I'm saying right now, like you have a very advanced one on your hands. So just everything we're dealing with, like be ready because you're gonna be doing it very soon. She is not the average 2-year-old.
Question?
When I was growing up and I wanted to do a hobby or a sport or something, I would beg my mom to put me in, and then she'd pay all this money for like registration, like the first month, and then I ended up not liking the whole process. And whereas this guy, he's really freaking talented. So, but the thing is, his parents like kept him in all like the classes, and he like stuck through it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, whereas like mine, if I just said I don't want to do it, my mom's like, okay, then I'm not gonna waste my money. Whereas him, like, his parents had him like finish all of it. So like, if your kids wanted to do something or like say dance, and they said, "Oh, I don't want to do it anymore."
Well, how did you feel having to complete it all?
That's you.
Oh, me?
Yeah, how did you
I
feel
didn't complete it.
being made to complete it?
I'm trying to think of all the extracurricular activities I did.
You did taekwondo. You did piano. You did tap. You did ballet. You did ballroom. You did.
And do you feel like it really like played a role in your development?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, but in the process, were there a lot of moments where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore?
Not really, to be honest. Yeah.
Because your sister said she didn't like doing half the stuff that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of points like when we were doing like singing classes or piano lessons where it was just like I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. I'm not sure if it was the mentality that was instilled upon me or if it was just my own feeling, but everything that I was put into or signed up for like curricular activities or anything, it was always just a point to finish it or get to a point where I no longer needed it. Like for piano lessons, I got to a point where I could, I don't need lessons anymore because I can read music, I can improvise, do my own thing. Taekwondo, once I got my black belt, we were good. So I'm not sure if it was like something that was just like my own personal thing or something that my parents instilled upon me, like do it until you get to a point where you're good enough to do it on your own or don't need it anymore.
I guess it goes to the whole thing of like every kid's different.
Yeah, it's
like,
different for everyone. I
like
think.
Jordan hasn't said I'm done with baseball, but he's like certainly open to trying things.
Yeah.
So then I feel like thankfully now there's trial classes, but even now if they want to do something, I think Steph and I talked about this, like if they're going to try something and then that requires a little bit of time, like 6 months, and we have to like talk, or it's 6 months, and then we have to obviously have the conversation. If you're going to do this, at least this long. That way it's like you see if you really like it or you don't like it, because sometimes you just don't feel like it that day.
Yeah.
But maybe next week you'll like it. So it's kind of a negotiation. So that way, like they have a voice in how long they stick around, and it's not just like a flip flop every second.
The way I see it for her, and she's young still, only 6 going on 7. I'll never force her to do something she doesn't want to do, but what I'm standing firm on, and me and her dad agreed, we're firm on, is that you have to be doing something that's involving you being physically active. You just have to, because that's good for your health. You just like eating. You got to eat some kind of fruits, vegetables. There are always going to be things we don't want to do in life, but we have to. So it's teaching that early on. You don't have to do every single thing. You don't have to be good at every single thing. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to pick something. So it's your choice, but you're going to have to do something to move your body. You're going to have to eat something healthy at some point today. You're going to have to pick a book to read. You might not want to read this, and that, but you're going to have to read something. So that's what it is. It's got to be something. Your choice.
Yeah. The things you're doing right now, it's all you have this or this. Just now they just have more choices when they're older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I think one thing you brought up yesterday when we were having ice cream was like the innocence question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What was the exact wording for it?
It was, what do you worry about, or like, Yeah, it was more of like the concept of worrying about what will take your child's innocence away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, I feel like you've been like
I
so
had
many
a
close
recent-
calls with you recently.
Yeah, we've had
It's
too
like,
many.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Share.
Because-
I
Oh
need
my
to learn.
god.
Here's some crystal stories.
I need to learn.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is in life. It's just like catastrophe. I guess, okay, there's like, of course, always school shooting situations. We had a situation at Nora's school where there was somebody nearby and they had to do a lockdown. And, you know, we were worried. We went to pick her up that same night, you know, and that was around the time there was the school shooting in Texas. And we had to sit her down and her teacher was going to have a drill the next day because of it and all of that. So we knew we had to have the talk with her, and we did. Me and her dad came together. We did a pizza dinner, and we just we didn't do it from a place of fear, but we did it from a place of like safety. You know, if this is why sometimes people are angry, and when people are angry, sometimes they want to hurt other people, and sometimes they do this, and this is why you do the drills at school. And you know, we kind of let her control the conversation. Do you remember the drills? Do you know why you do the drills? And then we filled in the gaps from there. But just having that whole talk automatically takes the innocence away, because now, you know, she knows there are people out there who have this ill intent, you know, this intent to harm, and now you have to watch your back. So at only 6 years old, she knows that she has to watch her back and that she has to watch her surroundings and help her peers, you know, and that she knows she has to question her peers, which is really unfortunate. You know, she has to question everybody's intentions, if they're good or bad, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Like that in general, that's terrible. So that's the biggest amount of innocence. And it's not our control. Like we didn't choose this, obviously, but we can't keep them. We can't save them from it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And for me, it happened well, not for me, but for Jordan, it happened during Jordan's move, with Steph's move to Arizona. They got this really shady moving company. It was like, it cost them, they gave her an initial rate, and then it came moving day, they hiked the price up, and they already had committed because they put money, and then they went all the way to Arizona, and then they shook them down. They asked for another $2,000. They're holding their shit. Yeah.
Crazy.
And it was all just Steph and her grandparents and Jordan, and it was Steph had to come up with $2,000 to get their stuff back, and also once they got their stuff, they broke their property.
Wow.
They stole his savings piggy bank. They stole some of his Legos and some of his Pokemon cards. And then this company has had a whole bunch of negative reviews already in all the places. I don't know how they're still in business. And then Jordan was like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, why would these adults who are supposed to help our stuff take our things, take what belonged to him?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
It's out of our control.
Yeah, it was frustrating and just still. Yeah.
That's a rough one, and there's a lot we can't control in terms of their innocence, but there's a lot we can control, because, you know, one thing I love, and both of us have this in common, are that we are, you know, raising our children in split households, but these are happy kids. You know, I think when me and my ex decided to split, all our family on both sides were terrified. Like, oh no, this is gonna be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
And both of us knew. Like, we're just like, I at least definitely knew. I was like, watch. Wait, what does Usher do? Watch this. watch.
Yeah,
like, they're happy kids.
They assume like they have both parents have to be physically there, but in reality, they just need to be like emotionally there. Because I know if Steph and I stayed together, the arguments being as bad as they were, they have seen that, and then Jordan has seen us argue, and Jordan doesn't want and he, you know, kids are sweet. They try to mitigate and they try to stop it.
Like, that's what could have taken their innocence had we not taken the step.
Yeah, that the parents could have been the ones that already. So
Yeah.
Nova already, at 2, she was already like telling us, hey guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No yelling.
Yeah.
And then she continued,
and that you don't want. And I mean, like, as parents, we all know, we've all been there. The first years are the hardest. Couples always argue the most when the kids are young. I mean, that's just a known fact. But there's so much more that factors into when adults finally decide to go their own ways. And for us, that time did come. And but we agreed. Daughter comes first. Raising comes first. And we co-parent. We do family vacations still. We do dinner nights, movie nights, go for walks, you know. This little girl would never, like, she doesn't understand what separation is in the way we grew up understanding, because, you know, my parents were separated, and, you know.
That often means, like, one parent ends up disappearing.
Yes, and it's just drama, you know, even and when those parents come together, it's like angst and, oh no, you know, there's going to be a fight out in the street just because there's a drop off, you know. No, like, the way she sees it, I got two of everything, and, you know, her parents are just super happy, and they're friends, and, you know, like, she doesn't understand that this is actually, like, what people used to deem as a negative. She doesn't know that. She will probably never understand that this was, like, used to be something that was frowned upon. She's just living her best life, having fun, and we co-parent very well. But that could have been. That was a big fear. You know, it took a long time of concern of, is this going to take away her innocence? Is this going to ruin her life?
Yeah.
And instead, it made it much better, I think. I think everyone knows.
Think so, yeah.
You know, I think everybody kind of can see, like, wow, like, this little girl's got love coming from every direction, and we're both, you know, energized and not batting heads, so that when we come and we parent her, we're just, like, you know, powered up. So it's good.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for split homes in any way. I see this on social media all the time, and they're like, are they advocating for being, like, divorced and being single parents? No, not advocating, but just saying if it is a fear that's going to be what takes away their innocence, it doesn't have to be. It is what you make it, you know?
As long as both parents want in, they're going to make it work.
Takes two to be willing to make it work. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've covered so much now. It's not just, like, dancers or, like, parents that are dancers. It's dancers that are parents. Like, we're just covering parenting at this point.
Well, one thing, just a side note, I am grateful for this company because it allowed both of us to, like, do something still, or, like, even though we're not, like, 100% active, like, the way you have it set up allows us to choose, like, if we can be or not, and it doesn't make us feel guilty, whereas we're used to, in the dance community, like, you have to be with this team, you have to go to everything, you have to do all the performances, and, like, you know, we would feel guilty, like, if we needed to, like, leave practice early because, you know, we have a baby, or, like, we had to do the performance because something came up, like, with our kid, where this, like, allows us to take turns and not feel guilty. So that's what I appreciate about Temper Tantrum.
Oh, yeah. I guess it's for all parents. Were there any barriers that you had, like, being a dancer or wanting to be a dancer as a parent? Like clear barriers. I feel like you've had some, like, encounters, like, with people who are like, oh, we get pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like, the one thing I did not like when I was pregnant is like, the non-parents, or they're like, they don't understand that, like, hi, okay, bye, bye, bye,
Oh, show us some
it's like she doesn't count all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, Nova.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Bye bye.
Here,
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, Nova. I love you.
Yeah. Thank you, Nora.
Nora, you can set a timer on for 10 minutes. You can hold us accountable.
Yeah. Okay.
She gonna do it too.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I do.
Okay, Nova.
We do.
No more.
That's a norm. If I give her a time frame, I allow her to set a timer on me, and that's it.
Yeah,
And
same.
I regret it every time, but I hold to it.
Same here
I hold
with
to it.
Jordan. Like, Jordan, I just need 10 minutes of quiet for work. He sets a timer.
Yup. I love it. I love it.
Because he knows, like, he just knows it was like, I don't like talking when I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
And then or when I'm in a meeting, he's like, Dad, are you in a eating in the middle of my Zoom meeting. And I'm like, okay. And just play video games. And it took a while, like, for him to learn how to be quiet, like, while I was, because he's playing video games, and he gets excited. And but then, he gets, just kids. It's okay to be accountable to our kids. Sorry, you're saying?
Sorry, a quick time story. So, because Noah doesn't know the concept of time yet, and we were taking a bath, but she didn't want to get out of the bath. I was like, okay, you can be in the bath for either like 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then like you pick. And then she's like, okay, 2 minutes, and then I'd be counting. I'd be like, okay, I'll count up to 2 minutes, and then be like, okay, 1. She's like, okay. I'd be like 1, 2. She's like, okay, let's go. She's like,
oh my god! When she finds out,
You cheated me.
like, okay, this is where my trust issues started.
Brings it up to a therapist.
She counted 2 seconds, 2 minutes.
yeah. Okay, so like I learned this the hard way because now I look back at like how I used to treat like my friends that were pregnant. Like where I'd like be overly careful or like, but it came with good intention, which is like I tried to understand it, but this person or these people, they kind of use it in a way where it's kind of manipulative. Because when you're pregnant, you're tired, you get different hormones. Everybody's pregnancy is different, but these people only know what's like by the book.
Yeah,
and so like. I had to like lay down, and then I know they were mad at the fact that I had to lay down. That I wasn't productive like during rehearsal. It was more, but they use it against me saying, no, like we're mad that you didn't tell us that you were tired. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna be tired, and then it just came, and then people would be like, oh, she could have learned just by watching. I'm like, you think I'm gonna comprehend that?
Yeah.
When I have like
and pregnancy brain's a thing, so it doesn't even matter. It's not.
So I kind of regret staying where I should have just completely dropped out because,
unfortunately,
like, even though I'm able to like do like, I was still able to do like 1 or 2 pieces before my psoriasis completely took over my body. But I regret it. Like I wish I either just like dropped out to save my mental health during pregnancy, because like 100% they were not going to understand. And like if these people watch and they know who I'm talking about, like I know they're still not going to understand it.
Oh man. And that's the hard part in being involved. You want to surround yourself by people who do understand. Like I think luckily for our company, we've got multiple parents, so we just get it. There's a lot that goes unsaid that we understand, but you got to be very careful to mind yourself. So yeah, if I had to ever be in a situation like that, I probably would hope to not put myself in that situation. But
it's rough because then there's an empathy that they try to attempt, but it's just like it's just like no. I don't know. Go ahead.
You just reminded me, and I think I blocked this out. I think this is so traumatic that I forgot this happened. But in my pregnancy, I kept teaching dance through my pregnancy, and I was so excited that I conceived because it was difficult, but it was high risk, and I had this condition where, if I even sneezed, there would be a problem, and I'd have to go to the ER. So, so I was still teaching dance, and I'll never forget, I guess I did some dance move or something, and the situation, I could feel something was wrong, and I had to cut my classes for the rest of the day. And that was the first incident that happened, and I had to go to the hospital and get seeked out, and it just kept happening where, I'd be like, I probably shouldn't do this class today, and it wasn't good for the parents, they were paying money, they couldn't keep having their classes canceled, and I just really thought I could do it. I thought I was capable, and I didn't know that my body would deceive me in such a way. I was like, I could not wait to be that pregnant teacher. And my students my students watched me get engaged. They watched me, they found out I was pregnant. They watched my belly grow. Like, my students were so excited to see me, and I just wanted everybody to be involved in this beautiful process with me, And so that was really hard. And I kept trying to teach longer than I should have, so that was my boundary. Like, I should have just bowed out. And other parents, too, they would try to be understanding. They're like, it's okay, like, we get it, don't even worry about it, like, you're tired, take a break, get some water, you know. But at the end of the day, no, the kids still just needed someone who could just give them what, you know, they were there for. So I did cut out eventually, but I tried to keep teaching longer, way longer than I should have, for my own physical safety, and then also for what the students' parents are paying for, you know. So that was a big surprise. Yeah.
It's just hard when people are like they say they understand, but then like you hear comments in the back.
Maybe like a complaint later, like and the classes are over, and the next day my boss gives me a call, like, you know, I'm just like, darn. Even though you fellas didn't carry the babies, you were still expecting. So, what, you know, do you guys go through any similar setbacks or boundary, like barriers? Like, did you encounter any during,
Like things
that you wouldn't have
things
expected?
that dancers would put on you for being like a dad.
They're like, we got it easy.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that's definitely part of the male privilege thing, right? Because it's like we didn't have, our bodies didn't have to go through that.
You bring Jordan to classes or anything?
I didn't bring Jordan to classes. I did bring him to rehearsals, and the person, my director, was just understanding. He was 2.
Yeah. I guess, I mean,
so,
we've gotten over here, we're understanding. Kind of dealing it now.
Yeah, I don't feel like I had any barriers that held me back. Yeah, I don't think so.
Or maybe I have a question. So, like, how did you feel like seeing like your ladies pregnant, but yet they couldn't like do certain things? Did you, in the back of your mind, did you ever feel like, oh man, like I wish, like they weren't pregnant, like so they can do certain things, or like
Did you regret making it?
Dang.
No,
like did you like were you the people telling me, oh we understand, but then later on it's oh yeah that sucks. Like,
I mean, for me, it was like one. I just wanted to make sure that it was comfortable for her, because I'm in my head like, you don't get to say shit right now. It's her body and whatnot. There's shit happening that there's stuff happening that you just are not gonna get. So I wanted to try to be supportive. You know, the only thing that I wanted was like, oh, I just want to have sex.
Oh man! Back up. Yeah.
Wow.
But,
is that your answer?
No.
He's like, I plead the fifth. He's like, this is a setup.
I
It's a
didn't know
trap.
we were going in that direction.
no, that's straight. Like that's me though. Like I was, I was my partner. I'm like still found them beautiful. I'm going to help in that, but I still that doesn't make, just because they're pregnant doesn't make me not want to do them.
Yeah, I'll speak on behalf of ours. That definitely there was less under, but everyone's different. You know, I know there are some expecting dads who will do the research. They'll read the books and they'll be more involved, and they'll be like letting the informed the mother to know what to expect next. You know, they'll be the ones doing all that. So I was not like that. I will never forget a time where I was saying that I needed to rest. I couldn't clean, or I couldn't do the dishes or something because of my nausea. And he was like, but it's not the morning. It's morning sickness. And I was like, I was ready to.
There was many times where Steph, there was like cramps that happened, random cramps, like for
Braxton
Steph.
Hicks.
So she would have
Is that her summer?
Steph would have random cramps at like 3 a.m. and I would help stretch out, or I would go on random runs to get tomato soup.
Something I did also, I'll just put out there, I parented extremely different than a lot of people do. I just did my own thing. So when she was really little, I took her out of a crib very early, earlier than anybody would statistically be comfortable with. and I custom made. I took wood, I built it myself, and I custom made like a toddler bed for her,
Oh,
and
wow.
I baby proofed her entire room. There was not one choking hazard, anything. So she would have, before she could even walk, she would have the freedom to wake up, roll out of her bed, and roam her room and just get
That's
into what she
cool,
wanted
yeah.
to. Yeah,
Kids having their own
and
freedom,
that gave her a big sense of, you know, independence. And I kept her room door shut, but I'd watch her on the camera, and she would just spend hours like playing, and I just hear her get into stuff. And then eating, we did lead weaning, which I think is more common now, but back then people were like, they're gonna die, you know. No, it was fine. So lead weaning is when you let them eat solids, like you skip the pureed food, just directly to solids. And that's what we did. She, you know, she never choked. She's never had a choking incident, not one time. And she learned to eat early. And I would then, when she got old enough where I could trust she's not going to choke, I would set up her options in the fridge. It's like, am I a lazy parent or like?
I think this is fascinating. They're learning how to be like self-reliant.
Yeah, I'd set up snacks that she was allowed to prepare herself. I'm like, you can either have a yogurt, you can have the. So she knew she'd open the fridge up, and there were what she could make herself, and she would do it. And like, I mean. Yes, I benefited because I get to sleep in longer in the morning, but I would also watch. I'd monitor, I'd hear, I'd listen, but she learned to do a lot. And I would still get up and make her stuff because there's still stuff she would want that she couldn't make, you know, pancakes and all that kind of stuff. But she learned a lot when she was very young.
Yeah, kids making mistakes. If anything, just teaches them risk assessment.
Mm-hmm.
So, imagine your kids are our age. What would you want to tell them now if they're watching this?
Look how annoying you were.
You'll be a pretty girl.
Our age?
Yeah, that's in this age now, and then they happen to stumble upon this.
Adults, oh my gosh, keep being you, Nora, and keep just speaking up for yourself and doing your own thing.
Yeah.
It's like the retreat.
Oh my god, don't do it! Oh no.
Wait, what happened?
No.
I guess they have.
What we would tell our little selves.
When we had the baby picture?
Yeah.
So we were partners and we were talking about our kids and what we would tell our kids.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the one thing I would tell Nova as an adult is just don't forget who you are, because I'm gonna start crying, but I've lost myself so many times, and I think after giving a baby, I've lost myself again. So don't do that. So I think it's just try to remember who you are.
What about you, Eddie? I know you.
Do you want mama?
Don't stop having fun.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Don't
definitely.
ever stop having fun. Know that there are times to work and be responsible,
Okay, what do you say?
but sometimes it's not worth it if you can't have fun doing it.
Nora, what would you want to tell yourself for when you're older? What do you wish you could be doing when you're older?
Be famous.
Hey!
Yeah.
Noah, be famous, okay?
A famous singer
Oh.
I want to be a singer.
No, we
Let's
won't want
go.
it.
or dancer.
Oh.
Or both.
Okay, and Jordan, if you're watching this, hopefully you, I don't know, are just happy with yourself and are doing something you love. And just know that I'm doing my best.
Aww. I did my best.
Yeah. So
Good luck.
So-
It's in your hands
good,
now.
good luck, everyone. So fix global warming. Okay. All right. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Follow them, do all the things, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.